Hello and welcome to the channel, and welcome today to Guild Wars 2. Now, this is a game that if you've been around for a while you'll know that I originally did some stuff with. I used to love this game a hell of a lot. Trust me to get attacked as I'm trying to do an intro. I used to play it a hell of a lot, then I stopped playing it. Well, don't get me wrong, I played it for a hell of a long time before I stopped playing it. And then I kind of just stopped playing eventually. I kind of just went off it, just kind of run out of things that I wanted to do. New experiences, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the people that I was playing with stopped playing it as well, which is a big factor. Then along came Warlords of Draenor. Well, no, first of all, WildStar happened, and I love the hell out of WildStar. WildStar was great, but that didn't keep my attention. That literally kept me for about a month. I did some PvP. I didn't even hit max level in WildStar. There was a lot of how to put it. WildStar I fell out of love with because of the grindy nature of it. It was you weren't rewarded for the time that you spent doing certain activities. Like, I'm mainly kind of like a dungeon player. I love doing dungeon stuff with groups and like getting it down to almost like a fine art and efficiency. It's just something that I really enjoy doing. Now WildStar had some great dungeons, but like you'd put in a lot of time into them, and it very much didn't feel rewarded as such. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, but like you wouldn't get a lot of experience. I wouldn't get very good gear. So and like on all the forums it was like, oh, dungeons are completely pointless until you max level, but yet you could do them when you're like level 30. And I don't know, that really annoyed me. So that it kind of felt like the only thing that I was enjoying was the PvP, which when I'm paying a subscription model, I kind of want a little bit more to do than just PvP. I don't know if that's just me, but that's just the way I saw it at the time. So WildStar put me off until they were going to make changes. Apparently, according to the devs, they are making quite a lot of the changes that I wanted to see. So I will probably go back to WildStar, honestly, at some point. I do have a habit of bouncing around MMOs. As I say, then Warlords of Draenor come out, and I had a great deal of fun with that. That's kept me in it for... about... call it 2 months before like it happened where I didn't go on it for like a week. That kind of idea, you know, and now it's got to the point where I have actually cancelled my subscription to it, because I just feel no need to go on it. Like, I did some of the raids. I mean, the new raid's about to come out, but I can't foresee myself going back in just because of one new raid, because honestly it wasn't really that exciting. And then Guild Wars 2 announced their expansion, which as I say, I was a massive fan of Guild Wars 2, much bigger fan. I was a massive Guild Wars 1 fan, so when Guild Wars 2 obviously was coming out, I was hyped as fuck. So I was probably very biased towards this game, honestly, but I did very much enjoy it. So when I saw the expansion, it filled me with some hope. Who are you? No, sorry friend, I'm not hanging around here for any particular reason. I was more just wondering what was going on. I think the Shadow Behemoth must be about to come up. It's been a long time since I've done that. Yeah, the expansion filled me with some interest again, because I'm a big fan of the story, although I must say I've played through a little bit of the Living... because they did the Living story, and we're now in Season 2, or at least coming to the end of Season 2 now, I actually think. And I've played through a little bit of it, and I can't say that I've enjoyed it. Like, it's been more of a slog trying to go through the first few missions than it's been an enjoyment. Whereas when I very first played this game, like going through your personal story at the start, up to like level 20 was my favourite, when it's actually more very much aimed at your character. I enjoyed that immensely. Then obviously it starts breaking down to like which group you join, like which faction you join, and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously eventually leading up to the main point where everything comes together and you go after the main dragon. Like, the story kind of started to dip a little bit on like how much I started to really enjoy it as much. I mean, the first time I did it I loved it, but then after that, like, I only enjoyed up to level 20 story wise, and then after that I didn't give a shit because I'd already done it. I would say that kind of varied with the faction stuff, because obviously I've done one of each of the factions, so I finished each of the faction and now don't give a shit. So the idea of more story coming out that seems a little bit more engaging is quite appealing to me. Plus with the new class I'm hoping will give me something a little bit more interesting to delve into, because I have got one of every class. Not max leveled. There's 3 characters. There's 3 classes I haven't max leveled. So, which is the Ranger, the Engineer, and the Necromancer. Other than that, I've max leveled everything else. Which, it's something I want to... I mean, my Ranger's pretty high. I think he's just shy of 70. Max level being 80. So he's not that far. My Engineer's about 45 and my Necromancer's about 25. But honestly, I think... I've seen a little bit of the new class, and it looks pretty interesting. Heavy armour, bit of magic and stuff whirled in there. Basically looks like a heavy armour ritualist for anyone that played the first one. So that's kind of piqued my interest quite considerably, so I'll probably just delete my Necromancer and make one of those, honestly. So, yeah, I'm going to try and get back into Guild Wars 2, because there's still loads I've got to do on here. Like, I've never fully completed Exploration, because I used to do Exploration, but I'd do it with a mate. And then, as I say, everyone's kind of stopped playing it, who I used to play with. I mean, the guilds now, like you can see, most of the guilds that I used to be involved with are now next to nothing, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just one of these things. It unfortunately happens. So, it happens with any MMO eventually, though. Some guilds will eventually just die. It takes that one person that holds the whole thing together to leave, and then it all falls apart. But so I'll probably be looking for a more active guild to try and jump into again. And I'm going to try and get into some of the new content and try and actually enjoy it. So, it kind of just made me want to think, though, like, what is there anything that you kind of look for when you're going for, like, if there's any like big MMO players out there anyway? I don't know how many of you actually get into your MMOs. Is there anything that always like draws you back into your MMO, or is it just one of those things where you occasionally get that MMO itch and you decide to just jump back in for the hell of it? Because that's usually what happens for me, is I just kind of go, I feel like playing an MMO, which one can I play? And then it's whichever one's kind of got the newest thing for me to go and experience. So story's usually a big thing for me. If I can get a little bit of story in there to kind of get myself with a little bit of investment into it, then I'm a little bit more interested usually. Whereas if it's just a combat orientated thing, I'm okay with it, but it's got to be enough of a challenge but not dull, if that sounds anything like it. I'm not a big fan of like the way raiding, for example. Like, I like raiding, but I like raiding because of the gear I get at the end of it, not because of the actual raiding itself. So when you're spending a few hours doing something you don't necessarily enjoy to get an item with a few extra numbers on it, it kind of eventually gets to the point where you go, why the fuck am I doing this? And that was the point I'd got to with WoW. So WoW's back on the back shelf again, probably for a couple of months before I jump back into it and think it's the best game ever again, because this is inevitably what I do with all MMOs. I jump out of one, go, nah, this game's fucking shit now, and then jump into another one and go, oh my god, why did I ever leave? I'm that kind of person. So, obviously Elite's kind of been filling the border of me for MMO recently. That's been MMO enough for me. It's like an MMO that you play on your own, and that kind of suits me down to the ground. Because it means I don't have to worry about getting other people. Although, don't get me wrong, when the Wings update comes out for that, I'm going to be thrilled, because that does look great fun. I might actually hang around here until this Shadow Behemoth comes out. There seems to be a lot of people here, so it can't be that far off. Usually these people have got all the timers and all that kind of stuff, whereas I don't have them anymore. So, yeah. It'd be interesting to hear how many of you, like, if any of you guys jump in and out of MMOs, or if you've been completely loyal to one MMO. Because I've got a few friends that have gone back into the Star Wars MMO, and they're loving the fuck out of it. I personally spent a little bit of time with it and never really got into it. So, it's just not something that's ever made me want to go back, so I just never have. So yeah, it'd be kind of cool just to hear what you guys think. Like, if any of you have just completely stuck with one, like, I've played WoW since the day it come out and I've never left. You know, or if you're like me and you bounce between MMOs, or you used to play MMOs and now you don't give a shit for them anymore, you're done with the MMO kind of idea. Like, it'd just be, I don't know, I kind of want to get a bit of discussion going on that one. I think it'd be cool just to hear people's thoughts, because MMOs have got a lot of opinion around them to do with, like, obviously you got your different types of model, whether you're a sub model, if you're the free to play, if you're like well, I'm playing one, so like Guild Wars, where you kind of, like, as it were, buy your account and then that's it, you can play the game infinitely, so like buying any other standard game. So that usually brings up a lot of heated debate, which I kind of sit on the fence with a bit. But yeah, it'd be. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. So you guys can leave me your thoughts in the comments and stuff, and we'll try and get a little bit of a talk going. If any of you do decide to come back to Guild Wars for the expansion, if you let me know, I will happily add you, and maybe we can get some groups together, and we can do some exploration, maybe some dungeons, and we can do all that kind of stuff, because I'm going to be looking for people to play this game with again, so I'm determined to get back into Guild Wars 2. So for now I'm playing on my old Mesmer, who's still... I still love this character. Refuse to ever get him any proper epic gear. It's all transmogged into really common stuff just because I think his armor set's really cool, but that's me. That's the one thing I loved about Guild Wars, was a little bit of customization in it, but... So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling now before I start going through all my characters and everyone's then going to tell me I've probably built things wrong and my character looks shit and all this fucking nonsense that people generally do with MMOs. It does look like the Shadow Behemoth might be coming up, you know. Ooh, that gives me something to do. Right, anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Please leave me your comments down below. It'd be cool to hear some of your thoughts. And if you want to hear more of these, like, discussion-based videos, let me know. Might be worth us doing some other ones. I'm sure I can think of some other things that we could talk about. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this anyway. Thank you very much for listening to me. And hopefully I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.